Yes, good morning, everyone. 110th meeting of the audit, St. Louis, Tuesday, November 2022, 30 a.m. Roll call by the chair.
I will note that
Approval of the committee meeting minutes, 30th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Comments by the chair. External audit. Cliff and Lawson audit.
yeah. That was that. Excuse me. Audit. Yeah, documents. They're fairly big. This is going to be pretty high-level discussion, but I'll let Andrew lead it.
So my name is Andrew DeBell. As my role at CLA, I audit energy and organizations of similar size. What I'm going to do is probably provide a summary results of our audit, taking basically the work that we've done 5 months, summarizing that. But before I dig into, I just want to take an opportunity to give kudos to Mary. In June of 2020, retirement, and oftentimes, unfortunately, when you have that fundamental tracker, but this organization continued to operate at very high, very risk. Still maintain timeliness, assuming that, which speaks to the strong internal control foundation. So I'm going to move from my material. So I'm going to quickly go over the scope of our audit service. We issue an opinion on the FR. We issue a report on internal controls over compliance and reporting. That's related to our single audit engagement. We issue an agreed upon procedure report as required by the Waste Management. We issue a report on project expenditures, and then we issue an opinion on both to provide procedures for called voluntary. The status of our audit that we're signed. The results of our audit procedures are modified. Have on all of them. And then from an internal controls perspective, as I alluded, no material weakness, no significant are required. So these next couple slides, they're going to go quick. Stop me if you have. These are required communications. I'm not going to read through all these, but I'm a person on one significant. There is the issue of the 20 A and B. That resulted in a fairly significant about a $9 deferral. Happy to report no fraud or illegal. During the year, there was adoption of a that essentially brings all your legal challenge. Takes a significant amount of time. While $1 is not, don't underestimate. Then the last page is the corrected and uncorrected mistakes. Happy to mention. Again, that's foundation. I really open this up to questions.
I'll say the nice thing about a clean audit is that there aren't any issues to discuss, so it keeps the meeting short. But I think we don't go into a lot of detail on the numbers when we do this. Marion gives quarterly updates on kind of some of the high level status of where we are compared to budget. But I just want to, I think, point out the ACFR that he mentioned, which is the thick report that you have there, the bound book. That has all of our financial statements in it. It has all the notes to the financial statements that Marion's team spends a lot of time going through, making sure they explain the financial statements. And there's a statistical section in the back that's actually pretty interesting, an addendum. Normally the financial statements will compare to the previous year. The statistical section usually has 10 years of data.
Yeah.
That goes back on different high level financial metrics, also some demographic metrics for the district, which is interesting to look at as well too. So, today we wanted Andrew to present the audit. We're happy to say it's a clean audit, but you can feel free at any time in any of these meetings if you have any questions about the financial statements or what you see there, to bring them forward. We'll use this document as a basis for when we issue bonds. Investors look at this. It gets published on our website. The public may ask questions about it. So it is an important document.
And those financial. CFO. Now, not all governments are required to have that certification, but that speaks to the excellence of financial reporting. And Marion, you can probably allude to the number of years that you've got that certification.
Yeah, it's I think it's our 38th year getting that certification. If I could just take a quick moment, as Andrew mentioned, we did have our county manager retired prior to year end, and we hired an internal person by the name of Jessica Berry. Jessica's been with us for about 4 or 5 years now, and is now leading our accounting department. Her and her team actually did an excellent job. We've had some turnover in the area. We are working on a major upgrade to our financial systems, our Oracle upgrade. So we had a lot going on at the same time we were closing out year end. So I want to commend Jessica, and I have Jennifer Rice here, who is an accountant 3 as well, and the rest of the accounting team. They have spent a lot of hours working on the audit and our Oracle project, and have just done a fantastic job for us.
So the audit that we do every year, obviously it's a good control, but it's also required by the charter too. And this is Andrew's first year as the principal in charge of the audit. So we welcome him to this meeting, although we've used CLA for a partner for us. If there are no questions for Andrew, we don't have anything else for this.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Marion.
Thanks.
And the next meeting tentative date, 29th, 2022, meeting adjourned.
Trustee Nichols, we have to wait till 7:45 to start the next meeting. So as unusual as that is, we'll let you know when we hit the top of the hour.
Yes, sir.
You did it. Congratulations.
We came inside of time. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 235th meeting of the Program Management Committee, Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. Can I get a roll call?
We'll note all trustees are present with Wabi and Fair online.
Approval of the committee minutes of October 4th, 2022.
So move.
No comments by the chair. Engineering Department agenda items for the November 10th, 2022 board meeting.
Good morning, trustees. A number of items this morning. First item in your packet is ordinance for South County sanitary relief. This action will appropriate additional funds to an ongoing construction contract with Cove Grading LLC. This is an unplanned appropriation for this project. The work being done on the project consists of construction of approximately 9,300 linear feet of sanitary sewers, 8 to 18 inch in diameter. The purpose of the project is to reduce building backups and to relieve overcharged sanitary sewer. The project is currently under construction, expected to be completed by April of 2023. This is an unplanned supplemental appropriation of $100,000 to the contract. Is required to complete the construction due to some additional costs relating to added utility relocations and the restorations associated with that in multiple locations that were not anticipated originally on the contract. The supplemental appropriation request will bring the total appropriation to $4.7 million for the project. Are there any questions? Thank you. Next item is the Spirit of St. Louis 2 pump station replacement. This too appropriates additional funds on an ongoing construction project being constructed by L. Keeley Construction Company. This is an unplanned supplemental appropriation. The work to be done in this contract consists of the replacement of pumps, valves, control panels, and other miscellaneous electrical components and the rehabilitation of the existing concrete structures. The purpose of the project is to extend the useful life of the existing Spirit pump station. The supplemental appropriation is for $100,000 and is necessary due to the existing wet well condition being substantially worse than anticipated, significantly increasing the rehabilitation cost. In addition, there were delays in obtaining the FAA permit. This was located near the Spirit Airport, which led to some delays in the project and some escalation costs for materials and supplies. This supplemental request will bring the total appropriation for the project to $1,870,000. Okay. The next item is the Deer Creek Sanitary Pump Station. This action appropriates additional funds to an ongoing construction project being constructed by KCI Construction. This is an unplanned supplemental request. The work to be done consists of construction of a major pump station at the downstream end of the storage tunnel, including installation of a wet well in the existing shaft, a wet well building, 2 dry wells in existing shaft, and 1 dry well building, and various structures and site improvements. For those that drive down Highway 44, this is the building being constructed there, the old Laclede gas tank storage there in Shrewsbury. The construction is the second phase of the multi-phase improvement program. The purpose of this project is to provide additional storage during wet weather events by allowing surcharging sewers in the Deer Creek watershed to overflow into the tunnel and be pumped back in to the sewer system and treated at Lime plant. This project is part of a large project that will allow us to remove 12 overflows in the Deer Creek watershed. There's 2 other phases under construction. Phase 2 and phase 3 are open cut projects taking place more in the Ladue area right now. The entire project is to be completed by June 2023. The project needs to be complete and in operational by 2023. We have to have those overflows out by December of 2023 as a major component of the consent decree. This supplemental appropriation of $2,200,000 is necessary due to damages associated with the flooding, with over 150 feet of water in that in our dry wells of the pump station after the rain events of July 25th and 26th. The rain event caused the existing sewer to back up from the diversion structure through the discharge piping of the pump station into the effluent vault and discharge into the shafts. The work includes pumping out the flood water, cleaning the disinfection and dry well shafts, removal and replacement of the damaged elevators. That's probably the most significant cost that we had due to the rain events, and the removal and repair of gate actuators and lighting fixtures within this structure. Keep in mind the structure is about 150 feet deep. So there was a significant amount of water that came up. This appropriation will bring the total appropriation to $32,800,000 and fully fund the construction project. The district is working with FEMA. We've made a claim in seeking reimbursement for this flood damage, but we need to get because of long lead times, we need to get the equipment ordered and keep the project moving to meet that critical deadline I talked about. Are there any questions? Thank you. The next two items are CSO green infrastructure grants. The first one is a green infrastructure grant for Lutheran North. This ordinance authorized the district to enter an agreement with Greenprint Retrofits LLC to provide financial assistance through the green infrastructure grant for the construction of green infrastructure. The purpose of this project is to reduce combined sewer overflows into the Mississippi River per the long-term control plan. This project will reduce runoff with the installation of 9 bioretention basins at the Lutheran North High School as part of their redevelopment of the area. The cost of the project is estimated at $2,500,000, and Greenprint Retrofits is requesting $2,500,000 reimbursement for the cost of the green infrastructure. In your packet, there's a location map showing the Lutheran North High School, which is just north of Lucas and Hunt and Highway 70 in North St. Louis. You can see a number of projects that they're taking on and adding of green infrastructure, bioretention basins, mostly adjacent to parking lots and their ball field or football field up there. This will capture water. This area is served by a combined sewer. We'll capture that water and hold it back and bleed it back into the ground. Next item is a green infrastructure for Preservation Square Phase 2. This ordinance authorized the district to enter an agreement with Preservation Square 123 Landlord LLC to provide financial assistance through the Green Infrastructure Grant Program. The purpose of this project is to reduce combined sewer overflows into the Mississippi River. The project will reduce runoff with the installation of 1 bioretention basin and various pervious paver areas for the parking areas. The total cost of the project is estimated at $387,000, and Preservation Square 123 is requesting reimbursement of $387,000 for the project. Again, in your packet is a location map. This is just north of downtown in the North City area. You'll notice on the map the majority of the green infrastructure will be to put pervious pavement in the parking pads behind the units themselves. This will allow runoff from the roofs to go into this and reduce to the combined sewer system. Again, this is located near O'Fallon Street and Hogan Street in North St. Louis City. All right, the next item is a Deer Creek OMCI reimbursement program. It's an agreement with the city of Glendale. This action will authorize staff to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Glendale and the Deer Creek OMCI. The ordinance authorizes the district to enter into agreement for eligible stormwater expenses where revenue is collected by the Deer Creek OMCI subdistrict. Eligible stormwater expenses include the following: storm sewers, inlet construction, drainage improvements, stream bank stabilization, and erosion control projects clearing under bridges, cleaning detention basins, stormwater planning or engineering, or other stormwater-related expenses that is deemed appropriate by the district. City of Glendale is working on a stormwater master plan. This is the second request for grant for the city of Glendale for the remainder of their master plan. They'll contract for the engineering services to put together that stormwater master plan. These types of master plan are very beneficial to the district. They'll turn those over to us and we can incorporate issues that we may not have identified and allows those to get into our system. A number of municipalities have done this throughout the years, and so this is very beneficial to us. So we'll be encumbering that $67,000 out of appropriation, the Deer Creek supplemental appropriation that we made earlier this year. So, any questions? All right, the next two items are easement condemnation requests. First one is the Harlem-Baden Phase 4 Hamilton to Darver trunk sewer. This ordinance authorized staff to proceed with further condemnation efforts, including filing of all necessary pleadings and documents leading to the acquisition of permanent and temporary construction easements on 2 parcels of ground in the city of St. Louis and the village of Hillsdale. The easements and temporary construction easements are needed to construct this project, which consists construction of approximately 3,600 feet of 12-inch to 108-inch diameter combined sewers and 900 feet of pipe and tunnel. This construction is the 4th phase of a multi-phase improvement project. The purpose of this project is to alleviate street flooding and reduce building backups due to overcharged combined sewer system. During the easement negotiation, it became apparent that a temporary access road across one of the parcels was needed and modification was required on the other. This access road is necessary to keep an adjacent commercial business open during construction, and currently we've been unable to negotiate this particular easements. Overall, we required 18 easements for the project. 16 have been required, leaving these 2 remaining. We continue to negotiate with the property owner. It's a single property owner, commercial, named Invo Green. Our attorneys and my engineering staff have been working diligently. If you look at the document, as you'll notice, this property is adjacent to an existing junkyard owned by Brock. Number of cars, we're able to negotiate and get our easements through the Brock junkyard. And to the upper part, you'll see that access road. Right now, there's part of that goes through Invo Green to get to their property, so we're providing them temporary access into their site while we're working on their site. We're real close to getting an agreement with Invo Green, but we've kind of stalled, so we're looking to request condemnation to finalize that agreement. Thank you. The next one is the Valley Sanitary Relief Phase 3. This ordinance authorized staff to proceed with further condemnation efforts, including the filing of all necessary court pleadings for the acquisition of permanent construction or temporary construction easements on 3 parcels of ground in the city of Baldwin and Clarkson Valley. The easements are necessary to complete the project, which is varying in size from 8 to 15 inch in diameter. Approximately 5,500 linear feet of projects throughout a residential neighborhood. The project required 18 easements to be acquired. 14 have been required thus far, and one of them we will not condemn on. We have easements, but we were getting the temporary construction easements, which leaves 3 for condemnation. So I'll kind of discuss those 3 right now. Make sure I'm looking at the same documents you are. The first one is parcel number 6 up in the left-hand corner. As you can see, It's on the corner. We're getting piece adjacent to a home along the right of way. We've had numerous discussions since July with this property owner. We're very close, still discussing the amount of time of the disturbance. We feel like we'll be getting this easement, but we want to move forward in order to keep the project moving forward. The next one is on the next sheet, which is parcel, I'm sorry, it's on the same sheet. Parcel 7, which is down in the middle, bottom. As you can see, we're taking pretty much of this gentleman's yard. We've made some offers and they've counter-offered. They are, it looks like we're getting real close. We're working out some details on some fencing and some sprinkler systems that the homeowner has. But again, we've kind of reached stall here. We've been talking with this owner since June, and we want to keep the project moving forward to address some backups in this area. And then finally, parcel number 18. This is a parcel. Obviously, we're taking up most of the side yard of this person. We've been meeting with them since June. They are represented by council. We've made numerous offers back and forth. And just recently, we thought we had an agreement, and so there's still some things to be worked out. We feel like we'll be getting this one as well, but we wanted to move forward with the condemnation so we don't reach any delays. All right, thank you. The remainder of the items have to do with either existing design contracts for designing sewer systems for future construction or ongoing projects that we have going. So the first one is the Bissell Lemay Wastewater Treatment Plant Fluidized Bed Incinerator Design Project. It appropriates additional funds and authorized staff to amend a design contract with Black & Veatch for engineering services for the preparation of 30% design build project delivery documents for the Bissell and Lemay Fluidized Bed Incinerator Project. The purpose of this project is to replace the multiple hearth incinerators and solids handling facility with fluidized bed incinerators, sludge acceptance systems, and solid handling facilities at our Bissell Point treatment plant and at our Lemay wastewater treatment plant to meet the regulatory requirements of those incinerators. Black & Veatch will also provide advisory services during the construction and startup after the design build selection is complete. The current construction cost estimate for this project is $575 million, and the construction is expected to begin this spring. We'll be making our selection in January on that project. I brought several other ordinances to you in the past related to that project. This appropriation of $1 million is for design services and is equal to the proposed funding in the budget. There will be future supplemental appropriations for Black & Veatch as our owner's representative on this project. This contract is in the 5th year of the planned multi-year project, and again will require additional appropriation. There were no MWBE goals for this project, but there was a commitment by Black & Veatch to have about 25% participation with the project. There's none planned with this current on their design of the project. They anticipate more participation during the construction management. As they stand right now, they're about 21% participation on the project. Next project is the Lower Merrimack Wastewater Treatment Facility Expansion Phase 2 design. Appropriates additional funds and authorize staff to amend a contract with HDR Engineering for engineering during construction phase services for the Lower Merrimack Treatment Plant expansion, which is ongoing right now. It is a lump sum cost project for the design, preparation, and construction management of the expansion of the treatment plant to accommodate future capacity flows from the Fenton wastewater treatment plant. It improves the reliability of several aging facility assets at the plant to help us meet our current permits for the plant. The construction cost for this project is about approximately $114 million. The construction began earlier this year and is expected to be completed in fiscal year 2025. The appropriation of $1,238,000 for construction phase services is $478,000 below the proposed funding in the budget. The appropriation includes $1.19 million for construction phase services and $47,000 for contingencies. There will be future supplemental appropriations required for engineering during construction phases for this multi-year construction project. Again, on the minority and women participation, the original commitment was 7.1%. With this amendment, they anticipated just under 20% participation with this amendment, which gives us an overall participation to date about 19.6%. So they're exceeding their original commitment. All right, the next three items are renewals of 3 construction management contracts for major tunnel and wastewater treatment and facility projects. These are part of what we call our watershed contracts. They required multi-year contracts with construction management firms to manage primarily our larger tunnel projects and our facility projects. We use internal staff for most of the open cut sewer work and some of the smaller pump station work. The first one is construction management services for the lower and middle river to Pear tunnel facilities. This appropriates funds and authorizes staff to amend the contract with Shannon and Wilson for an annual extension based on acceptable performance to provide construction management services for all tunnel projects included in the lower middle river to Pear CSO improvement projects. This project consists of the biddability and constructability review during the design of the tunnel projects and construction management services during construction. The estimated construction management contract ranges for the entire program over multiple years between $70 and $80 million. This contract amendment for $1,200,000 brings the current contract value to $16,500,000. The appropriation of $1.2 million in construction management is $1.3 million below the proposed budget in our budget supplement. This is due to delay while waiting for a larger tunnel machine for the Jefferson Barracks Tunnel. This will provide construction management services during the Jefferson Barracks Tunnel and construction management during the design of the Jefferson Barracks Tunnel consolidation sewers. Again, on the minority participation on this multi-year contract, the original commitment by Shannon Wilson was 30%. On this amendment, the $1.2 million, they anticipate 39% to minority and women businesses, which brings their current value of 36.8%, which exceeds the 30% commitment on the project. The next item is the construction management services for the Lower Merrimack and Deer Creek tunnels. This appropriates additional funds, and authorizes staff to amend the construction management contract with Black & Veatch for the annual extension based on acceptable performance, providing construction management associated with the Lower Merrimack tunnel system, the River to Pear tributary CSO projects, and the Deer Creek and University City sanitary projects. The preliminary construction estimate for these tunnel projects is $630 million. The project consists of the biddability and constructability review during design of the tunnel projects and construction management services during construction. The value of the construction management contract for the entire program is estimated between $40 and $60 million. This contract amendment of $3 million brings our current value to $30,990,000. Our appropriation of $3 million for construction management is $2 million below what was proposed in the budget due to the lower Merrimack Baumgartner Fenton Tunnel not beginning as early as anticipated. Funding will also the Baumgartner Fenton Tunnel, Deer Creek Sanitary Tunnel. Additional funding will also provide the district with support on the implementation of Project Site. It's a document management software for use on our large and tunneling. This allows the flow of paperwork between the contractor, the consultant, and MSD staff. We previously used a system called Prolog, and it was being upgraded to Project Site. So we utilized Black & Veatch to help with that transition and migrating the information from Prolog into the Project Site software, and that's included in this appropriation. Black & Veatch had original commitment of 30% MWB participation. With this amendment, their participation is 29.31%. Right now, the overall participation for the project is about 38.54, which is exceeding the original commitment on the project. And the final construction management contract is for tank treatment and pump facilities. This appropriates additional funds and authorized staff to amend an existing construction management contract with KAI 360 Construction Services, again for annual extension based on acceptable performance, provide construction management services for tanks, treatment plants, and pump stations associated with the various district CSO and SSO construction programs. Preliminary construction estimate for these facilities is around $500 million. The project consists of the bidability, constructability review of the design, facilities, and construction management during construction. The valued construction management contract for the entire program is between $40 and $60 million. This contract amendment of $5 million brings a current contract value to $39,650,000. The $5 million for construction management services is $2,500,000 below the proposed budget for the project. This funding will provide construction management services for a various listing of projects that ongoing, approximately a dozen projects that they're working on right now for us. This CRM services also is providing funding for additional inspectors. Right now, we're having difficulty hiring inspectors for MSD's projects. We're just not getting the applicants. We're probably about a half a dozen inspectors. So they're providing some manpower to help supplement that while we're trying to hire more inspectors. So that is included in this year's appropriation. Overall, there was a commitment by KAI 360 of 48% MWB participation. KAI 360 is an minority contractor or consultant. With this amendment, they're going to provide 77% MWB participation. Right now, the participation is running about 66% on this particular project. The next items are design contracts that we're procuring this year. These projects will be designed over the next year to 2 years. We'll get easement acquisition and begin construction either next fiscal year or the following fiscal year. So there's 5 of these projects. The first one is the Geyer Sanitary Relief. This appropriates funds and authorized staff to enter a design contract with Hanson Professional Services for the design of the Geyer Sanitary Relief Project, which is a project of a 3,400 lineal feet of 18 to 21 inch diameter sanitary sewers and appurtenances. The purpose of the project is to alleviate wet weather building backups and overcharged sanitary sewers. Construction cost estimate for the project is approximately $2.48 million, and construction is expected to begin in fiscal year 2025. There were 3 other proposals considered for the project. The appropriation of $361,000 for design is $135,000 below proposed funding for the project. There are no MWBE goals currently for the fiscal year, but the contractor, Hanson Professional Services, anticipates approximately 46.64% participation for minority and women sub-consultants on this particular project. The next item is the Grand Glaze Wastewater Treatment Facility Grand Glaze Creek Bank Stabilization Project. Appropriates funds and authorized staff to enter a design contract with Intuition and Logic for the design of the bank stabilization. There's a lump sum cost for the design and preparation of construction documents to construct approximately 300 feet of 22-foot tall modular block and appurtenances. The purpose of this project is to alleviate erosion threatening the flood wall protection at the Grand Glaze treatment plant facility and maintenance yard. The estimated construction cost for this project is approximately $810,000, and this construction is anticipated again in fiscal year 2025. There were 2 other proposals considered for this project. The appropriation of $260,000 is equal to that presented in the budget supplement. Intuition and Logic is committing to approximately 16.45% MWB participation on the project. There is no goal for participation on this particular project. Next item is the Grand Glaze Wastewater Treatment Facility repairs and improvements. Appropriates funds and authorized staff to enter into a design contract. It's authorized the district to enter into a contract with GHD Incorporated for the design of various repairs and improvements at the Grand Glaze treatment plant, design and preparation of construction documents, and removal or replacement of various aging infrastructure components at the wastewater treatment plant. The construction cost estimate for this is approximately $2,500,000 and is anticipated to begin in fiscal year 2024. There were 2 other proposals considered on the project. The appropriation of $454,000 for design services is $54,000 above the proposed funding for the project presented to CIRP. We did add some security, a security project to the project after the budget was prepared. It was a separate project we were working on internally that we're going to have GHD design for us, so that's why we're over the budget a little bit. GHD is committed to 2.61% MWBE on this particular project, and there is no goal. The next item is the Lindsay Lane Sanitary Relief. This action appropriates funds and authorized staff to enter into a design contract with RJN Group for the design of the sanitary relief project. It is a lump sum for the design and preparation of construction documents for 3,200 lineal feet of 12 to 24-inch diameter sanitary sewers. The purpose of the project is to alleviate sanitary sewer charging and building backups during wet weather events. Construction cost estimate for this project is $2,679,000, and construction is anticipated again in fiscal year 2026. There were 3 other proposals considered on the project. The appropriation of $507,000 is $16,000 above the proposed funding for the project in the CRP. RJN is committed to just under 40% MWB participation with the firms listed on the sheet that you provided to you. There is no goal on the project. All right, and finally, the Gravois Creek OMCI Stormwater Design Project. This action appropriates funds and authorized staff to enter into a design contract with Oates and Associates for the design of projects in the Gravois Creek OMCI design project. There are 3 projects associated with this: the Big Bend storm improvements, the Fawndale Drive storm sewer, and the Dixon storm sewer. The construction cost estimates for these 3 projects is $1,207,600. The construction on these projects is anticipated to start in fiscal year 2025. There were two other proposals considered on the project. The appropriation of $300,000 for design services is equal to the proposed funding for the project presented in the CIRP. Oates and Associates committed to 30% MWB participation on the designs of these projects, and there is no goal. That concludes the engineering department agenda items. I have one other item under other business. This time I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize Sharon Parker, run the computer over here. This is Sharon's last meeting. She's retiring after 39 years with the district. If you count the time she was a temp, it puts her over 40 years. She's retiring in February, but she's taking a long vacation here after this week. And I just want to say how much we appreciate. She's been the admin for the director pretty much the whole time you've been here. Been through 4 directors. 25 years she's been the admin. So she's been here. She's put together a lot of program management committee agendas, and they can get pretty lengthy. So a lot of hard work. Her replacement, Kayla Young, is sitting over here, and I trust Kayla will do a great job as well, but I wanted to just take some time to recognize her. Thank you. That is all I have.
Next tentative meeting date is November 29th, 2022. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Trustee. Start when you are. Trustee Fair, we're ready when you are.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Morning.
Yes, good morning.
Great. This is the 284th meeting of the Finance Committee. Can we have a roll call, please?
I will note all trustees are in attendance. Trustees Fair and Wabi are online.
Thank you. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes from the October 4th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Minutes are approved. We will move on to the portfolio update, please.
All right, thank you. We'll start with the monthly report that we look at relating to our operating fund investments. I'll start in the upper left. When we put this report together last week, portfolio was about 717 million, a little bit more. That's about 10 million down from last month. We had a large number of capital expenditures that reduced the portfolio a little bit. The yield to maturity, the benchmark, continues to climb. Last month it was 4.2%. This month 4.5%. As we talk about, our portfolio only turns over a little bit every month, so we were only up about 3 basis points Excuse me. In addition, we didn't actually make any new investments this month because of the extra outflows. So we are still not keeping pace, and we don't expect to because our portfolio is shorter and only a portion of our portfolio turns over every month. If you look over to the sector allocation, which is in the upper right, this is really where we determine whether or not we're within our policy limits, and we are within policy on all items. The interest-bearing collateralized deposit at 2.25%. The next item I'm going to address that amount, the next item on the agenda. And then the rest of the portfolio at the bottom just gives you an idea of where the money is. Obviously, in operations is where we keep the bulk of it. Excuse me. And maturity distribution shows the difference between our portfolio and the benchmark portfolio. So the benchmark portfolio is in the red. The bulk of that's in the 1 to 2 year treasuries. The bulk of ours is in the 0 to 1 year maturity range. That's because we use the money we collect to pay for projects and operations and that sort of thing. Any questions on the operating portfolio? I apologize for my allergies. All right, the next item is a commercial paper list resolution. Every couple times a year, we bring this to you to update our commercial paper list. There's actually only one change I want to talk about today. We want to add U.S. Bank as an approved commercial paper investment. U.S. Bank has been an approved investment before. However, they kind of dropped off the list because we use a third party, an outside firm, that puts together an approved list based on our policy requirements and their own review. Just so happens that we use U.S. Bank for this. So they do not, just to avoid appearance of conflict of interest, recommend their own CP. However, they meet all the requirements. They've been on our list before when we had a different manager. They're also our primary banking partner. So the reason we want to add them back to the list is because they have a sweep product that will allow us to earn some additional funds on some money that we generally hold in the bank. So one of the issues that's come up as interest rates have risen is that corporate checking accounts don't earn interest. They earn something called an earnings credit rate. And that earnings credit rate can only be used to offset bank fees. So as rates go up and that earnings credit rate goes up, the amount of money that we keep at the bank that offsets the bank fees actually shrinks. That's the amount that actually earns any kind of earnings credit shrinks because the rate's gone up and our fees don't change that much. So instead of sitting with uncompensated balances in the bank, because we do need to keep a certain amount of funds on hand for liquidity reasons, this product will allow us to tell the bank to sweep excess balances into a commercial paper product that will earn interest, so that we don't have money sitting around that's not doing anything. So this is probably a few $100,000 a year. What we had been using is a separate interest-bearing account at a separate bank. However, those rates are not changes in that rate is not keeping pace with the overall increase in interest rates. And when that money's at a different bank, it takes a little bit extra time to move it back and forth. So this is a little bit easier solution for us. Will let us earn additional return and keep us out of any liquidity issues. Any questions about that or concerns? Okay, and then the last item is the Adjustment Review Committee report. Excuse me, I'll turn it over to Marion.
Thank you, Tim. As required by our wastewater ordinance, I will be reporting adjustments to customer accounts over $5,000 for the period of July 1st, 2022 through the end of September of 2022. As indicated on the report, we had a grand total of 39 adjustments totaling approximately $363,000 for the period. In the top section of the report, in the adjustments area, I'll just focus on some of the larger transactions there. You will see that there were 8 transactions totaling $130,000 approximately that are in the category of reduction factor adjustments. Again, that is when our Department of Environmental Compliance goes out to visit commercial sites to determine how much water is actually entering into our wastewater system. And so they make adjustments based on the studies that they conduct, and we accordingly adjust customer accounts. The second item that I want to focus on in this section are water agency adjustments. You'll see that there were 28 adjustments totaling approximately $216,000. This particular category relates to additional information that we get from the water utilities that provide us with data. They may send revised meter reads or process adjustments, and we make corresponding adjustments based on that data to customer accounts. The last item I want to focus on is in the other section at the bottom of the page. These are actually billings that we issue to the Bridgeton landfill and to Missouri American Water. There were 5 transactions totaling $801,000. Are there any questions regarding the report that I can address? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Tim. If there's no other business for this committee, our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, November 29th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Fair and Wabi, we'll let you know when we're ready for the next meeting.
Okay, I'd like to call to order and welcome all of you to our November Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yep, and we'll note again that all trustees are present with trustees Fair and Wabi online.
Okay, there are no comments. I have no comments, so can I get approval for the committee meeting minutes from October? Okay, with no objection, the minutes are accepted. Tim, you're first on the agenda today with your resolution, Sunshine Law resolution.
All right, thank you, Trustee Wilson. The item that I'm presenting today is a resolution. It'll be up for approval at the board meeting next week. It is an update of a resolution that was issued in 2012, which established fees for providing public records. So the update is really just to keep pace with changes to the Sunshine Law and also changes in technology. Previously, we had a schedule in the old resolution that provided costs, for example, for photocopying as well as for providing information on a CD-ROM if there were a lot of records and we'd issue them that way. Since then, we've switched to USB drives, and now we typically, if they're large, will provide the requester with a link so that they can access electronic documents online. So the updates to the resolution really are just to, again, comply with updates to the Sunshine Law and also reflect that there's other medium other than CD-ROM by which we might provide data. So it updates potential copying costs. It allows that we are allowed to charge for time spent collecting and copying the records, although far and away, most of the Sunshine requests we respond to, there is no cost. But if there is substantial time involved, we will charge the requester. And we do provide, just for example, we will provide an estimate of the cost before we pull the records, just to make sure that the requester is comfortable with that so they're not getting a surprise bill. Any questions about the resolution? All right, thank you. That's the only item I had, and I think Dino is in for Tracy on the next one.
Yes, my name is Dino Kivridge. Good morning, trustees. The Assistant Director of HR. I work with Tracy Coleman. I'd like to bring your attention to resolution number 3797. This would be for medical services for district staff provided by BJC or Barnes Care, which includes worker compensations, medical services, drug testing, pre-employment evaluations, and other medical services as well. This resolution is for the district to enter one-year contract, optional one-year contract with BJC or Barnes Care, exercising the second option year out of 4. Questions?
Thank you. If there are no questions, move right on. Ms. Meyer?
Moving right along. My first item is proposed resolution 3796. It will authorize the district to exercise the second option year to a contract with Beck, Dickhouse and Associates. This contract allows the district to aggressively pursue the collection of excess proceeds from properties sold at tax sales in the city of St. Louis and also in St. Louis County. We've had a contract with Beck, not off and on, or not off and on. We've had a contract with their law firm since 2015. And over that time, they have collected over $1.7 million in excess funds for the district. So this resolution will authorize the second option year of the current contract. Any questions? Okay, hearing no questions, I have the next discussion point, which is the legislative priorities. I've shared those priorities with you all last week. I think they should be in the package you have in front of you. What we do is each year I bring these priorities to the stakeholders meeting just for a discussion. There's no board action necessary. It's just to let you all know what staff is thinking as far as what our priorities are. If you have any input on additional priorities or questions about the priorities that we have listed, I mean, please raise them. This is kind of a fluid document that we discuss with our federal and state lobbyists and kind of put together what we foresee the priorities for the year to be. So I will go through them kind of in general. They don't change a lot from one year to the next. But if you have some questions, just stop me and we'll talk about it. And we'll just go through them kind of briefly. So I'm going to discuss the federal legislative priorities first. They are, the format is the same as last year, kind of organized into 3 different buckets: general, financial, and regulatory. Under general, our priorities are to maintain and expand the strong relationship with the with our congressional leaders. We monitor any potential changes proposed to IRS codes that would possibly affect the pension and or the retirement system. We continue to monitor and identify legislation that's either helpful or detrimental to our organization or our customers. We work with NACWA on priorities for wastewater and stormwater that may benefit MSD. And we added a new one this year to work with NACWA to monitor and identify legislation that addresses environmental justice issues. Any questions on any of those? Okay, the financial category, we seek to secure and increase funding for wastewater and stormwater projects through different federal grants. We oppose tax law changes that would cap or eliminate the tax exemption of municipal debt interest payments. Support tax law changes that allow advanced refunding of debt on tax exempt basis. We monitor any potential change to the allocation formula used by EPA to allocate SRF monies. We monitor any potential regulations or laws coming from the Security and Exchange Commission that will impact the municipal securities industry. We work to ensure inclusion of MSD priority projects in the next WERDA reauthorization bill. We monitor any potential infrastructure bills to ensure that wastewater funding gets its share of any funding approved and that it doesn't all go to roads and bridges. We monitor any potential bills that provide assistance to low-income ratepayers. Any questions on that financial category? Okay, moving on to regulatory. We continue to seek passage of affordability legislation. We monitor regulations regarding blending at wastewater treatment plants, CSO discharges, sewage sludge incinerators, green infrastructure, nutrient management, integrated planning, and the definition of waters of the United States. We monitor legislation on emerging contaminants, and we continue to educate the legislatures about our consent decree and how we're implementing that. That's the conclusion of our federal legislative priorities. Any questions? Okay, we'll move on to the state legislative priorities. They're organized the same way, the three different categories. So going through the general category, we continue to establish open communication lines with the Missouri General Assembly. We maintain a working relationship with the governor's office and the appropriate and various departments of the state. Continue to identify and monitor legislation that affects MSD and its customers. We implement legislative priorities approved by the board at the Stakeholder Relations Committee. We identify and monitor legislation that may infringe upon or may conflict with our charter. We identify and monitor legislation that could impact our pension plan. We identify and monitor legislation that may affect our ability to comply with the consent decree. Any questions? Okay, the financial category. We identify and monitor legislation that positively or negatively impacts our ability to collect bills. We identify and monitor legislation affecting tax revenue. We advocate for the sale of $20 million in stormwater bonds, which were previously approved by the Missouri Assembly. We identify and secure grant funding from MDNR and other state sources. We educate local legislatures on funding that will become available from the federal government. That's a new one this year. We've added that. Any questions on the financial category? Okay, regulatory. In coordination with our stakeholders, we actively monitor for and undertake appropriate advocacy on regulations that affect the district. With the Association of Missouri Clean Water Agencies, we support state legislation authorizing voluntary water quality trading. We monitor any Missouri Clean Water permit fee proposals. We advocate for and take appropriate steps to ensure that state rules and regulations governing MSD's mission are based on reasonable and sound science. And we continue to educate the Missouri General Assembly and other state officials about our consent decree and the implementation of that. Any questions on the regulatory category? Okay, that concludes my presentation of the priorities. And like I said at the beginning, if throughout the year anybody has any questions, comments, suggestions, please reach out to myself or Brian, and we can bring them to this group and discuss them. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item, we have to go into closed session, and I'll entertain a motion.
And just let's spell it out, sorry about that. The closed session is to discuss personnel actions, intersection 610.021, paragraph 3 of the revised statutes. And we will do a roll call vote. Trustee Watson? Yeah. Sorry, Trustee Wabi? Is Trustee Wabi online? You may be muted.
Aye.
Thank you. Trustee Nicholasison?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Fair?
Yes.
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
All right, we're in closed session. Thank you.
Yeah, I need a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Okay, no objections. We're out of closed session. No further business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion adjourned.
Thank you,
Pleasure of my life.
everybody. Good day.
Thank
You too. Thank you.